Welcome, everybody. Are we on time? I know I am. I'm John Zidar. Some call me the Stock Wizard. This is On Top and Hot Live, where we're going to talk about stocks, penny stocks that you all have brought to me, and we're going to share them with everybody else. I have looked at the ones you brought me, and speaking of, man, thank you so much. I was sitting here thinking, what if you guys didn't show up? And it was 4 o'clock, and I'm just sitting here. I got no tickers to talk about, waiting for someone to come. Do. I don't know what I would do. That would be awkward. And I got enough awkward moments on this show without having that happen. So really, thank you very much. I love you for it. I really, really appreciate your participation. So if we have any problems, let me know. It's John Zidar. Yes, it is, buddy. They used to call me Cigar, and you know how I replied to that. We won't go there, right? So I seen there was a little bit of conversation in here, folks. So what I want to do is I just want to jump into this real quick. Let me see here. I'm getting my buttons right. Now, I have a plan here, folks. I have a plan. I have been forgetting twice a month, and I do this 4 times a month, to hit a button when we talk about a stock. And you see my head and blah, blah, blah. I'm talking. Good thing I read what I'm looking at, right? Well, what I'm going to do is not hit the button. You're going to see me like this, little guy over on the side screen of whatever it is we're looking at, because I've got another screen over here that I look at to make sure I've hit my button. Well, if I use the screen to read your messages, I don't have to hit the button. I don't have to come back here. The only disadvantage is I don't get to use the full screen. I'm only going to be tiny over here on the side. We'll live with it, right? All right. I seen there was some conversation here about TCGL. Hell yeah, there should be some conversation. What a hot bloody stock. Matter of fact, let me see. I got it up here. This stock was halted today a lot. Right here. That's a halt. All these halts all day long, and I do mean all freaking day long. If you are in this stock, this was driving you nuts because you don't know what's going to happen when it's halted. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? You see this? You see how many there are? And we play halted stocks over at Penny Boys. So this was really ripping today. Now, this is the stock, and this is why it ripped. It makes no bloody sense, but this is all that happened. I don't know how long ago. They don't give us a piece of news here, but the New York Stock Exchange reached out to the company and said, explain to us why you're having so much activity on your stock, which is kind of funny because the stock has been dead for a very, very long time. Matter of fact, let's take a look at that stock. Yeah, look, she has been flat at about $4 for a very, very long time. Then about 10 days ago, she did jump. She went up to about $7 or $8. Now that's a 100% jump. So maybe that's what they were curious about. And it pretty much stuck there. Well, when that news came out today, and the news was them replying to the New York Stock Exchange saying, duh, we don't know. We haven't got anything we haven't reported. We don't know of anything that hasn't been reported. And that's all we got to say on it. That was it, folks. The stock took off like a rocket. She was down here at roughly $8.50. You ready for this? She went to $136. What the bloody hell was that about? You know, the only way you got into this is if you caught the halts. And we have a strategy that I tell people every single day. It's a really, really good strategy, folks. When a stock hits a halt, now I can't show you any of the halts because they actually don't show them. It would be nice if they did. But let's say she halted right here. And this high is $54.31. Now, I know it ain't a bloody penny stock, but just listen because it works on penny stocks too. When it halts, if it pulls back, it needs to pull back for this to work. You mark that high. This is 54.30. Let's call it 53.40. When she starts to come back up and starts closing in on that high, you put in a bid 2 cents over the high. You put in a stop loss 2 or 3 cents under the standing high. So you're just spread 5 cents. That is it. That's it. Well, normally, if she gets to that 2 cents, and she would normally jump 2 cents to break a new high, and that's what it becomes, a new high of the day. That's a catalyst. Boom, it'll take off. And you never know. Is it 10, 20, 30% it's going to run? And you can do this over and over again. This would have been a great stock to be doing that on. Just put 2 cents in over the high after she halts. Wait till she starts to fall. Get your order in just before she gets there. Boom. So right now she is still running. She came down from that 136 back down to 54 right there, right at that high. And here she goes again running. She's pulling back after hours. But we don't have any catalyst. There's no reason for this to have happened. It just did. So voila. All right, I've got the due diligence done on the stocks that you asked me to do, and we're going to dive right on into that right now. I can get rid of this window. And the first one we're going to look at is ticker GCTS, another hot stock today. This came from Mark Ryan. The company is called GCT Semiconductors. They deal with 4G and 5G semiconductors, which are used in all of our communications now. It's going to be used in all of our robots, all of our machinery. That's what 5G was really intended for, not for people to download a 8-gigabyte movie in 10 seconds. No, it's so that they can send this wallop of information across the country with no latency. Poof, just have it there. They had very high daily volume today. We got news today, and we got no filings we really need to look at. I went through them. All filings are important, but we don't need to look at them for this show. So GCTS, she is based out of California, finished today at $1.28, up currently about 29%. Jumping almost 29 cents. Now, this is a hot penny stock on the major exchange. She's on the New York Stock Exchange. We don't get a lot of those. Most of them are on the NASDAQ. You can find penny stocks on any single market. The difference is the ones on the OTC cost you every time you buy and sell. So it's tough to scale in and scale out, buying multiple times to get in, multiple times to get out. You're throwing money out the window. You never have to pay to buy and sell your shares on the major exchanges. You also get to trade these pre-market and after-market. You're going to see a stock that somebody requested. It makes its biggest move after market. Virtually every day after market, it makes its biggest moves. The OTC, nothing. We can't trade them, but you can trade on the major exchange. It's been a long day. And there's a lot more money, a lot more volume on the major exchange, and a lot more rules. And those rules are cool. It keeps the companies honest. It means somebody's watching them and keeping tabs on them, which keeps our investments safe. So we really don't need to go into too much about the company. They make semiconductors, 5G and 4G. So let's get some information here. Looking at the news for the company. We got two pieces of news. One came out at the beginning of the month. One came out today. The one that came out at the beginning of the month, the company launches commercial shipments of 5G chips. Today, the company announced the first commercial shipment of their 5G chipset to GCT's head lead customers. The recently announced launch of Gogo's 5G air-to-ground network further underscores the growing demand for the 5G solutions and reinforces the company's position for expanded 5G. It was before COVID. 5G was all we were talking about. We were looking at every 5G company thinking those were the plays. And then it just got put on the back burner for a long time. We're just now getting back to it. Jumping back to that news, the most current piece of news that came out today, the company announces a licensing agreement with a leading satellite communications provider to accelerate global 5G connectivity. Not a lot to see here, but every little bit helps. The company announces that it has licensed its 5G, 4G chipsets to one of the world's largest, they didn't say that in the headlines, satellite communication providers. Now, there's not any money, there's not any customer base. We don't get any of that sort of information here, just that they are moving globally with this new deal that they've made. And that had the stock running today. How much volume came into it? Well, look at that. Boom. I mean, gee whiz, less than 500,000 over the last 30 days as an average. Today, she did 171 million shares. You're talking 340 times her volume that she's been doing over the last month. That's a lot of extra volume. Share structure. It's not bad. We got 57 million outstanding. I'm presuming this is as of November 2025. Could have changed, and I haven't done a deep dive. Don't know what the insiders own, so I don't know what the float is. I would just subtract the two numbers here. But I do know that we can't have any more than the outstanding share count on the float. So it won't be any higher than 57 million, which isn't bad. I mean, we're getting spoiled with all of these reverse stock splits. We got stocks that are under 1 million shares, which is just unheard of. You couldn't find a company like that before COVID. Now we see a stock with 57 million. We think, oh my God, why they got so many shares? It's not a bad outstanding share count at all. Market cap, about 57 million. Financials for the company, they're making money, but they're losing money. Over the last 2 years, they've lost about half of what they were doing. It dropped from 16 down to 9, but they're really making strong profits. Off that 16 million, they got 6.5 million. Off of 9, they got 5. So things are looking better in that regard. Quarterly, all over the place. Revenues are at a couple million, dropping down to 500,000, back up over 1 million, now under 500,000. And look, we're losing money. Cost them double the amount that they made. Hopefully they get that fixed here soon. Balance sheet for the company. Remembering we got to add 3 zeros to any of these numbers on the charts. We have got 8.3 million in the bank. We've got 24 million in assets. 104 million in liabilities. So we're holding a ton of deficit for this company. We're holding $80 million in deficit. Whew. See, now as a day trader, I really don't worry about this sort of stuff. If you're investing in the company and you're looking down the road, these factors make all the difference in the world. But when you're playing momentum, you don't care what kind of car you're jumping into, when they had their last tune-up, how many miles are on the engine. You just want to know, is it moving? If it's moving, I'll take a ride, right? So that's all we really are concerned with as day traders. So all of this could be better, but as a day trader, I'm not fazed if the stock is moving. Disclosures for the company. We got an 8K here. I've already been through these. This one covers the news. So like I said, we don't have to go through any of these. So let's go take a look at the chart now. I see you. Oh, I hate looking like an idiot. And it happens more often than you can imagine. So let's take a look at ticker GCTS. Let's kick this back to a year. Always like to see what the trend has been and get our 52-week high and low. So we have been in a downtrend, as most stocks have been. We have gone from a 52-week high of 247 to a very quick 52-week low on the other end, down to 90 cents. Wow, huge drop. Now, I watch for this, folks. You will see this as a habit. When a stock has an abrupt move up or down and hits a bubble, look for an equal abrupt move to the other side. It happens more often than you think. So between $2.47 to 90 and then sideways between the two for a very long time. Then she fell down here to just over our low of 95 cents and popped. She jumped today from 95 to $1.85. Looks like we were over 100% run right there. Look at all that volume, if you can see it. Lots and lots of volume. None in the picture for the whole year except for today. All of our oscillators are freaking on fire. Our ADX has got my attention. That green line is for uptrends. The red line is for downtrends. That red line is going to the floor where there's no power. The green line is going to the ceiling, which is where all the power is. And the yellow, that measures the power the dominating trend has. It's up here at the top too. That is a super powerful ADX right now. And our RSI, zooming, coming off the basement floor up to 58. Let's get some chart back here. Dropping on down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. There's that big drop right there. I have marked this. Look at that. Look when she hit that low. It really wasn't a real low, right? I mean, we could call the low here right where she's at right now. Right there. Boom. This is where her low is. She dropped here from $1.40 down to 9 cents. What happened to 90 cents? Maybe I need to clean my glasses. That is 9 cents, folks. And she came right back up immediately. And then about a week and a half later, she did it again. Boom. And came all the way back up. Boy, wouldn't that be a nice buy-in? This would be something you just want to have a buy sitting down there. Bing. Comes right back up. Again, she just went sideways and then she's fallen down to this low of just about $1. Just about $1. And off of that, she is climbing. Oscillators are looking very strong. Now look, folks, what did we have there? We had a full-fledged 200 squeeze. I'm going to get rid of these lines just for a second. There is my 200 haul. You guys don't use this. You really need to use it because the price responds to it more than any other MA I have seen on the board. The 200 haul takes into consideration current prices. So it is friendly to the price. It's considerate. And it is normally closer to the price than the 200 MA is. It's a stranger to everybody. When the 200 haul turns up, look, I have mine change colors. Blue when it's up, purple falling. Look, it just turned blue right there. What's happened there? Look at that bar. That bar went from 97 cents up to $1.50. Boom. And then it went up again. That is a 200 squeeze jump, folks. When the 200 haul is turned up and the price gets over the 50, it will zoom to and through the 200. It will normally then pull back because it's tired, took a lot of energy to do all of that, comes back to the 200 or the next MA underneath it. And if volume is in the picture, it will get refueled and take off again. And boy, oh boy, did this take off again. Came down to our 9-day MA at $1.08 and went all the way up to $1.84. She's come down and landed firmly on a flat 200. This is a great place to sit, folks. We got lots of volume in the picture. We've got all of our oscillators kicking up. There's a little pullback on our RSI, but that's what happens when the price comes down. But everything looked real good. Looking at our 1 hour chart, let's just look at what we got going on here. Now, look, all of that, most of this run took place pre-market. She came back down and took off at the bell, which is great. Had she been running right up to the bell, for God's sake, folks, sell. If your stock is running pre-market before the bell and isn't pulling back, sell at the bell. There will be a pullback 9 out of 10 times because people who aren't paying attention to the market remember the price being down here. When they open up the market and see it somewhere up here, oh, they don't care why. They're going to sell right now. And then someone's going to come behind them a little bit late and see it's still up. And they're going to sell right now. And it's going to fall. And if there's a good, strong catalyst, it'll find a floor and start to climb again. And that's when you get back in. You took a gain here. You bought cheaper than what you sold for, and you ride it up a second time. This was a beautiful play here. She gave us a chance to get in by pulling back before the bell, and then she just ran hard from $1.14 to $1.84. She's back down onto our 200. Solid bar is above the 200. Wicks are coming through. That's okay. All of our MAs are pushing up. Our 200 is actually climbing now. Things are not looking bad. There's weakness here. It's right on the ledge. It could go either way, but it doesn't look bad. Take a look at our 5-day, 15-minute, where she has landed on our dynamic duo, the 200 haul, which when a stock starts to run, you will find that the 50 and the 200 are normally right there together. And that is two pieces of wood nailed together. That's a big 2x4 and a plank. Bam, that's solid lumber there, folks. If she breaks the 20, which is very little, it's a 20. This is 250. That's a lot stronger, right? This should bounce off of this in most cases if you have volume. You got to have volume to move around on the board, and you need green volume to climb. But she's landed on this. How many times? Boom, 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 boom. So it looks like she has stopped falling. She's going sideways, which is completely another direction. And right now we're waiting to see. Everything is starting to roll. So I would not be surprised to see her come down to the 200 before she decides to bounce. If she bounces, volume is going to be key here. All right, I am not going to jump back yet. I want to go straight to another stock. So we are going to look at Velmore's feed. I played feed yesterday, made money on it. I played feed this morning, made money on it. I normally don't get a chance to play stocks because I'm into options so much. It's been nice. It's a change of pace, I got to say. So feed, this is Enview Medical. They deal with medical equipment, not drugs. Strong daily volume, super low float. They did have news today. We don't have to waste any time on filings. And I've got to share 3 links with you, which I have saved up here because I didn't want to forget. So feed. Enview Medical is from Texas, the big state of Texas. Finished today at $3.82, up 66%, jumping $1.52. Oh yeah. This is a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. They tell us here, now they used to have an old name, but they still use this name on some of their websites, which is why I've got different links to share with you. Nanovibronix develops innovative medical devices based on its proprietary therapeutic ultrasound technology. Our products address a range of clinical applications, including catheter-related injury, its complications, pain, and soft tissue healing. And the reason I have multiple links is they've got multiple sites for each product that they're selling. They've got this feeding tube replacement system. I don't know a lot about it, but that is one of their products. They have another site. This is for their urology therapy, working with catheters and such. Then they have their Pain Shield site, which is working with ultrasound and pain. Again, I don't know a lot about this, but they've got a lot of information. They got videos to explain it to you, so you don't have to do any reading. Just watch and listen. So they've got lots of stuff that they are working with. Taking a look at the news, see what's going on with her. Yes, please. There's my highlights. Those highlights are reminding me where I did my work. So there's a lot of information we can look over here, but I am focusing in on what's got the stock running right now. We've got a piece of news that came out on the 15th of January, which relates to the news that came out yesterday. The company launches over-the-counter reusable ENFit syringes to support feeding and medication delivery without a prescription. What we're talking about here are those sort of things. You know, you pull your blood out and it goes into that. Well, they used to throw them away before. I don't know how they sanitize them. Don't ask me. But that's what we're talking about here. And then the new piece of news that came out yesterday, the company signs a strategic partnership agreement with U-Deliver here in the United States. They are a company for distribution of over-the-counter reusable products, and they are going to be pushing this product to everybody out there. And I guess it's a big deal. Nobody has reusable syringes. I never gave it much thought myself. So let's take a look at the relative volume for the company. Holy cannoli, another one that's on fire. God almighty. She's been doing 1.3 million shares as an average over the last 30 days. Today she did 153 million shares. Yowza. Share structure. What's she moving? Oh my God. I told you it was a super low float. Outstanding share count is 1 million. Well, the insiders are going to own something. I've not seen many companies where they own zero. They're going to own something. Subtract that. That's going to give us our float. We're going to have less than 1 million shares. I just got done saying that before COVID, that was unheard of. You have an opportunity here you could not get 7, 8 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, whatever it was. So we are looking at a stock that is going to have less than 1 million shares. I don't know how long it's going to last, but as day traders, it's available for us right now. Market cap for the company, we're at 2.5 million. Financials, what money they making? All right, they are climbing. They've had some dips here and there. This is the COVID period, right? So that explains that. Going from 1.7 million up to 2.5 million in 2024. And the profits are doubled over the last 4 years. We're up to 1.5 million, which is more than 50% profit margin. We like that. Quarterlies, remembering those 3 zeros now. We're doing about, near 500,000 usually. We did over 1 million 2 quarters ago. We did 750,000 the last quarter. And we're pulling in profit usually. We're not always making money. Balance sheet for the company. In the bank, we got about $7 million. Total assets for the company, about 54. Total liabilities, about 12. We're holding equity, about 42 million. Now, I just did the math in my head. we got 42 million in stockholder equity, and we got, let's just call it 1 million shares. So based on stockholder equity, take 42 million and divide it by 1 million. That gives you 42 million, $42. $42 is what the price should be based on equity right now on the share count. All right. There's other ways to figure out what the stock should be worth, but that is one way. It's worth, keeping in the back of your mind. Disclosures for the company. Wow, 42 bucks. I said we didn't have to look at them, right? Isn't that what I said? No filings. Yes, I'm going to take my advice and we'll just leave that alone. So let's go look at this chart. I've been having fun with it. I think you will too. All right, let's go back a year, trend and all that good stuff. That's not a year. No, this goes back to December 12th. This is when she came on the market, or she changed her ticker. You get a new ticker, you get a new chart. So maybe she's been on the market for a while, but this chart doesn't go any further back than December 12th. We had a high then of $5 even. That sounds like it just came on the market. $5. And sad to say, a lot of companies that come on the market fall initially, and it takes a while before they come back. And this has done nothing but fall. Lots of false hope right here, but see that solid bar? Never went over the 9 MA. You can't climb till you're on top of the 9. Wicks don't count. Wicks are foresight. They give you insight, but they are not direction for where the stock is moving. The bar is. So it stayed under the 9 and it kept falling. Came all the way down here to 99 cents. So we have dropped 400%, right? From $5 down to $1. She went sideways and took off from $1 up to $4.82, closing in on the $5. I was going to say the day she came on the market. Now, I have got a Fibonacci here, which I don't think we need anymore. I obviously looked at this stock a while back. I don't know why. I don't know when. All right, let's come on down now to our 6-month, 4-hour view. It's the same picture. We just get more bars. We've got no 200-day MA on the chart. The 50-day MA is boss and king right now, so everybody is paying heed to it. This is where it jumps, and this is where it falls under. We had a breakout here, right? We don't even have a 200 haul on the screen, so I can't call it a 200 squeeze, but we had a nice breakout. She went from that 99 cents straight up, and it has been basically a steady climb. Even when she pulled back, she never came under the 9, never came under it, and she's just kept climbing. All of our oscillators are still climbing and on fire. Our RSI is pulled back, but it's still over the 70 right now. Coming down to our 20-day, 1-hour view. All right, now we have got a 200-day MA in the picture and a 200 haul. So we've got all of our MAs. She was going sideways until the 200-day MA came into the picture right there. As soon as it came in, it dropped. Boom. Went sideways, jumped over it, and then ran away from it again. It's pushing away from the 200. That's always a bad sign. Stay away from stocks that are doing that. You want to see them start putting pushes towards it or making runs over it. So once she hit this low, this is when we were going to watch it because it's an all-time 52-week low. She went sideways, started to push up. Once she got over that 200, look at the size of the bars. The bars are getting big. She's floating on that 9-day. She almost broke it here. Wow, look at that angle. Angle, not a curve. Right there, it almost broke it and then shot off this morning on that. We didn't even have any new news, did we? This is still running on yesterday's news. So I caught a piece of it there and I caught a piece of it there. Sold 50 shares. I only buy 100 shares because I'm doing so much I can't watch it. So I buy 100 shares or 200 shares and I sell 50% as soon as I get a little nervous, but I got gains. And then I sell the other 50% when I think she's hit a high, and then I can go back to my day. Did the same thing here. Now, right now, all of our MAs are still climbing. She is pushing down the 9, solid bar over it, wick under it. We can watch the 9, but that's a limp noodle. You know, you put it out the window of a car, who the hell knows where it's going to go? The 9 really isn't anything I pay attention to. All I know is you got to be on top of it to climb. So that's my primary thing. Now, it doesn't mean I don't mind it. I do think it's important, but I don't think that she's going to be crashing here. I get the feeling she may go sideways, waiting for the 20 to come up if she has any more momentum. She's running on this news for 2 days. If I see a third day running on it, I probably won't get in unless we see serious volume like this. If I see serious volume coming into the picture, I don't care if she's got news or not. I won't even look to see if she has news. I don't care. What I care about is the volume, momentum. I'm a hitchhiker, right? I don't care about the car. I don't care about how often you fix it. All I care about is, are you moving my direction? That's it. So feed, been very, very good to me. It will probably be good to you too if you read the charts. Okay, that's the wrong button. All right, I need to take a break here, but as I said, I am not going to hit my button and come back. We're not going to put me full screen. Sorry, this is the best I can do for you. But I do need to get a drink. Let's see here. Can I put that up? Yes, I can. How about that? Ah, yes. AIMD. I made a video on it yesterday. The company is the only company I know of that has invented, it's already made, it's already done, a nose for robots, for computers. A nose you can carry on a portable device, and it is being programmed with every cent in the world. That's what they're doing right now. For 10 years, they've been accumulating cents. First, all the dangerous ones, the ones that can hurt us, right? We want to know before they get too bad, is there any in the air? Now they're using it at hospitals to smell for viruses, to smell for diseases, to smell for infections. So you don't need to go through all the bloody tests. They can tell you by the DNA that they have marked now with a digital ID. So it's incredible. Can you take a look at it again if we have time? If we have time, I did just look at it yesterday, and I've got 4 or 5 more stocks to cover. So why don't we jump on into it and quit wasting time? I'll get that out of the way. Look at that. And I don't have to worry about hitting any buttons. So next stock we're going to take a look at. This comes from Dino, DCX. You know, it seems to me, let me come over here and see. It seems to me that there was 2 people that were asking about DCIX. Oh, I hate when I can't get up. In either case. Right. All right. We are looking at DCX. This came from Dino Trades. Get that up here. DCX. Digital Currency X technology focused on secure cryptocurrency custody and storage solutions. Explosive daily volume. They've got a very low float, but that's because they just did a 1-in-12 reverse stock split last week. Revenues are falling. And again, we got no filings we need to consider. So DCX, working out of the Cayman Islands. All right. I can tell you right there, it's Chinese. This is a Chinese company working through the Cayman Islands. This is the gateway from U.S. to China. You know, we're not supposed to be working with each other. Well, this is a loophole, the Cayman Islands. So that's where everything goes through. So we got a Chinese company working out of the Cayman Islands. Looks like there's their old name. I remember that. Shyjet Motors. I don't know if they've still got the website or not. Nope, no website. So they haven't changed their information. Like I said, it's amazing how many companies give no attention to this site, and they can put information up here. There's lots of places they can put their own information. So they finished today at $4.11, up 34.5%, jumping over $1 today. A hot penny stock on the NASDAQ, coming with all those benefits we talked about earlier. So Digital Currency X Technology is a pioneering digital asset treasury management company focused on developing innovative infrastructure for secure cryptocurrency custody and storage solutions. The company has strategically positioned itself at the forefront of institutional digital asset adoption, with treasury holdings exceeding $1.4 billion. They are holding that right now. The company is executing comprehensive digital currency strategy that includes treasury optimization, participation in decentralized finance, ecosystems, and the development of advanced custody infrastructure. See what we got over here for news. All right, back at the beginning of December, the company completes a $1 billion Edge AI token acquisition. Total treasury holdings exceeding $1.4 million. They had that last year. Then they did a reverse stock split on the 20th of this month, just last week. They had just received a receipt from the NASDAQ of being delisted. And if I remember correctly, this is for market cap. The notice stated that the company is not in compliance with the required minimum closing bid price of $1. There you go. I would have swore I read market cap too. Well, here they're talking about the dollar price. We're way over that. So the reverse stock split was successful. They pushed it over $1. It did not fall back down. But I would swear, and just so you can learn here, this company did not get 6 months time to fix their problem because they have already had 2 reverse stock splits of more, when you put them together, more of, I think, 200 or 250 shares. If you do that, you don't get compliance time. You get 10 days. If you don't get your price up over $1, you go down to the OTC. Well, that's what happened with a couple companies. So they just start doing reverse stock splits back to back to back to back because they don't get compliance period. They just do them. So what I'd be looking for now is another shareholder meeting, see if they vote on another stock split. We'll have to see how many shares they freaking got. They probably don't have enough to do it. Back to the news, and then they regain compliance. But I would swear, yeah, see right here, the company has regained compliance with the market value of listed securities requirement, having fallen under $35 million. So I knew it. They had 2 problems. They were under $1 and their market cap was less than 35 million. Well, as you can see, we've got the dollar problem fixed. And they just said that they fixed the market cap problem. Yes, they did. They had to be over 35 million. I'm not quite sure how they did this because the market cap is figured out by multiplying the share count by the price. Now, maybe that's how they did it. Because as soon as they did a reverse stock split, they lost a lot of shares. A lot of shares. They're down to 1/12 as many, which probably brought the market cap underneath. But when the price went back up, you didn't have a big number to work with. Boom, we got it back up. So maybe they didn't have to do anything. The investors just started pushing the stock up and everything fixed itself. Bottom line, they're out of hot water now. And that seems to be the only catalyst. They're out of hot water and we got a low float. So as long as they keep climbing, or at least don't fall, we should be in good shape here. Disclosures, I said we didn't have to look at them, right? Yep, I don't have to look at that. So let's take a look at the relative volume for the company. Holy cow, my God. Look, this company was only doing 14,000 shares a day. That's embarrassing. I mean, don't even come into work, period. Today, she did 29.5 million shares. Holy cow, what an increase. Share structure for the company we just checked out. News we've checked out. Financials. Now remember, we got to add 3 zeros to any of these. So 4 years ago, we were at 22 million. Fell to 14, down to 9, down to 7. Uh-oh, that ain't good. And they are still losing money. The only thing I can say is they're losing less money. It went from 57 million down to 24 million. So, hey, the company's losing less money. But look, they made 7 million and it cost them 24 million. Whoa. Quarterly. They don't give us anything here. That's because it's Chinese. They do have quarterly reports. Maybe they don't. Maybe they only have biannuals, but we don't normally get them over here at the OTC markets. Balance sheet for the company. Cash and cash equivalents, which we call the bank, we're at 3.7 million. Lots of assets. Look at that. About $500 million, 470 million. Total liabilities is 650. I was getting excited there for a second. They got 1.4 billion in assets, they said, right, in tokens. Well, here we got 650 million in liabilities. So we're holding a big bag of $180 million for this company. So if you're getting into this company for the long run, you may want to consider that. They're losing money. I mean, losing revenues. They're losing money, and we're holding a lot of that deficit. Ouch. And that's it. There's nothing else to consider over here. We got no real catalyst. What kind of catalyst can you have with a crypto treasury company? That's all they do. They just invest in crypto, hope it goes up and maybe make some deals themselves playing with crypto. But it's not like they have any customer service, they have to ship anything, have a manufacturer, none of that, you know? This is all they do. DCX. I should have this already fixed. There it is. DCX going back a year. Okay. Looks like this just came onto the market as well. First day, or they changed their ticker. One or the other. This chart starts on December 10th of last year. We were at $10.02. That was the high. And from there, all the way down to a 52-week low of $2.89. Now, you can't see it here. That don't seem to make any sense there. Now, it's funny. When you draw these trend lines, if you draw it on an hourly chart, it doesn't look right on a minute chart. You would think it should. If you draw one on the minute chart, it doesn't look right on the hourly chart. So you got to remember kind of where you drew it. So here, it's making no sense, but it will when we go down to the other charts. As you can see, for a full year, we've had no volume to talk about. Not even on these bump days here. We had lots of volume come into the picture today. All of our oscillators are just now starting to turn up. We have a very strong ADX. Look at that green line all the way up at the top. That's dynamic, folks. This is what I look for, the green line up at the top. But this hurts. The yellow line's at the bottom. That tells you how much strength your dominant trend has. This has no strength. It's in charge, but it's a wimp. It has no power. Let's come on down to the 6-month 4-hour. See, I told you that trend line made sense. So I took it off of this drop going sideways just before that drop. That came down and I just plugged it across the top of this and it just happened to hit that. Bink. And this wasn't there. This wasn't there this morning. It just bink, it hit it and came back down. It's like, ooh, it's funny the way trend lines work. So she has hit that trend line, come back down, and she is just hanging around the low area. But look, it's a higher low. It's higher. Now, it's lower than this one, but she is showing some activity. Now, this is like indecisiveness, right? You got a wick to the top, a wick to the bottom, and that's your solid bar. And wicks don't tell you direction. The bar tells you direction. She's over the 20. That's the best thing I can say. She's over the 20. She's over the 9. Looks like she's ready to climb. Not a lot of spunk, but she's in the right place. Oscillators on our 4-hour chart, they're lukewarm. There's nothing exciting about them, but they're not cold. Take a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. So there's the bump on that trend line at 635. There's a bump on it at 589. Came back down underneath a falling 200. She's come all the way back down to this 200. Now, this is where the bounce is happening, right? She bounced off of the 200 here to and through the 200. She's come all the way back down to a rising 200 haul. What we've got is a 200 squeeze prepared here. She is over. She's up here, the solid bar. She's over the 50 with a rising 200 haul underneath the 200 that's falling. Perfect 200 squeeze. This looks like it's ready to pop. 8 out of 10 of them do. It's all I can say. Now, the volume is petered out. That's the problem. We need volume, but she's in the right position. Get the engine started. I bet this thing flies. ADX isn't looking nice. We've got the red line crossing the green, and that's a big deal. When these lines cross, big things change. Look here. When the green crossed the red, boom. These crosses down here mean a lot. Not if they just stay in the middle, but when they're changing, going from top to bottom. And you can normally see them when they hit the top, they pull back. Once they hit the top, they pull back. Once they hit the bottom, they pull up. So I love my ADX. It's really given me a lot of insight into these stocks. Coming down to our 5-day, 5-minute. So now she has come underneath the 200. Let's see. Let's get real close to that. And it's not looking good. Lower low, lower low. That is not a lower low. Nope, that is not a lower low. So she landed. So now it looks like she may be going sideways, which would be perfect. I'll bet that comes right in about here. Look at that. It's at the bottom of this one right there. So she has come back down to where this big boom boom started, come right back down to it. There's a very strong likelihood that she's not going to go below this. I mean, she may ripple under it, but the solid bar should probably stay above this support at $3.18. May see some wicks, part of the bar come under it, just like that. And it should give time for these MAs, because they're all real close. They're all together. Just give them time to turn up. That's all. Just turn up. If the price will just stay flat, everything will turn up, and then it can catch the current and start riding it back up. Oscillators look like shaving cream. Everything is going down. Doesn't look real pretty right now. This is where it gets scary, but this is where we read the chart to get our inspiration. So our 5-day, 5-minute, look at that. Bam, right down to the floor. You can see it when you draw a line, right? It's perfect. So maybe right here is when the bounce is going to come, but look at all these MAs coming down like waterfalls over her head. This is what she's got to fight. So if she can just hang on, going sideways, these will all temper out and start to rise. Oscillators still look horrific. They're weak, weak, weak. Look at our RSI. It's down there at 28, underneath the basement floor. It had to start digging. It is falling right now. But it doesn't look bad. It looks like it's ready to run. What do we need? Volume. Always need volume. That's the magic ticket for anything. Best car in the world is crap if it hasn't got gas in the tank, right? All right, let me bring up the next ticker here. FGL. Saw some conversation up there about FGL, and then TPET. Somebody was comparing TPET to FGL, saying they both looked like they were ready to do something. And when I look at the charts, both FGL and TPET both have just slowly crossed over the 200s with these big wicks jumping over and over again. So they look like they're excited to get over the 200. But once they get over the 200, all the bars get small. And it's like, where'd the excitement go? So that's what we're considering here. Let's take a look at the information for FGL. Thank you, Underdog, my dog. This is Founder Group Limited. They do commercial and residential solar systems, everything from supply, engineering, installation over in Malaysia. They've got a very low float. We've got no news, but we've got lots of filings to consider. So FGL, as I said, they are from Malaysia. They finished today at 15.2 cents, up 1.3 cents. This is on the major exchange on the NASDAQ in hot water, right? It's under $1. If you're under $1 for too long, you get a warning from the major exchange that you got to get that price up. And normally you have to get it up over $1 for 10 consecutive days. It has to close over $1. It can come under $1 during those 10 days, but at the end, it has to be over $1. Once we, the investors, do that, they're out of hot water. I'm not sure if they've had one. Maybe I'll remember when we get to the back end. So, already told you what the company's about. Told you they have no news except this one, which came out in November. Receipt of NASDAQ notification regarding minimum bid price deficiency. Now, normally you get 6 months if you haven't been doing a whole bunch of reverse stock splits. So let's see if we can find a date here. They get 180 days. It's probably going to be from the date of the announcement. So, you know, it's going to be January, February, March, April, June, somewhere around June. So we've got until June for this to take place. Now, as a day trader, we don't need to worry about it, right? June's so freaking far away, it's not going to bother us at all. But if you're investing in this, you're going to have to take concern with it. If that date starts getting close, chances are they're going to do a reverse stock split. Now, I have not gone through all of the disclosures, but you could actually just come over here. Let me see. This is what I do now because Gemini is a part of Google. Used to have to use keywords. Now you can ask a bloody question and the AI will answer it for you by looking at all the information on the internet. So I don't have to. Oh my God, that is a blessing and a half. Founder Group Limited. I'm going to ask it. Has Founder Group Limited voted and approved a reverse stock split? Based on late 2025 findings, the board limited unanimously approved a reverse stock split of 1 to 10 to 1 and 20. And there's, yeah. All right. So it looks like we've got one sitting on the books right now. So their gun is loaded. That's why you want to know. Their gun is loaded 1 to 10 to up to 1 to 20 reverse stock split. And you're going to lose all those shares. The stock will go up. And that's great. If the stock keeps going up, you can probably make money. But here's the problem. If you're holding a stock that goes into a reverse stock split, this one's thinking of doing a 1 in 10. Let's just say 10. If you are down 10 cents, if they do a 1 in 10 reverse stock split, that multiplies your 10-cent loss by 10. So now you're down $1 on the stock, $1. And it multiplies your average up 10 times. So you have paid 10 times more for your stock and have lost 10 times more on the stock. The gap between the two becomes so bloody big, it's very, very difficult to catch up. You're talking to a guy who's virtually an expert on it now. For the last 3 years, I've gone through over 94 reverse stock splits and have lost over $50,000 from it. Stay away from reverse stock splits. Wait till they happen. Make sure they're successful and keep going up, because if it comes down, it'll be a long, long time before they come back up. Most of mine have not come back up. Not worth putting any more money into them until they start to come up. It's just a waste. So that was all the news we had. But the disclosures give us more information. We have two SC13 filings here. They're different. One is a D, one is a G. The difference between the two, they are set up for new investors that come in and buy enough shares. They own a percentage of the company. They become an insider. But a G and a D, one is a silent investor. The other one is they want to have a voice in what goes on. I can't remember which is which, but there's a difference between the two, but they both represent the same thing, new ownership into the company. This is Lee Singh right here. He owns a total of 7.8 million shares of the company. He now owns 18.8% of the company. He just added 2.6 million, and he owns a whole bunch of Class B shares. And if he converts those Class B shares into common shares, he will then own 41 million shares of common stock. Huge. The other SC13G, this is Reservoir Link Energy. They too own 7.6 million. They own 23% of the company. They too have a bunch of Class B shares. If they convert them into common shares, that's going to be another 33 million shares. Now, these shares aren't made yet. When warrants are converted, when rights are converted, when preferred shares are converted, it gives birth to all these new shares. So if they convert, all those new shares will come onto the market. Let's see here. We've got a 6K. 6K is a material change. On January 8th, the board of directors approved written resolutions for those Class B shares that they have got. All right, so that's where those came from. There's another SC13G. That's as far back as I'm going. This is on the 12th or the 23rd of last month. This is somebody that owns 2.7 million shares. They own just about 10% of the company, and they do not have any Class B shares. So what we see here is in the last month, we have had 3 new investors come on board. One owns 10% of the company, another owns just shy of 20%, and another one owns just over 20%. No, I can't remember what the third one is. In either case, you've got 3 people that have just invested a lot of money into this company. You know they've done their due diligence, right? And that's the signal here. If others are willing to put in that much money, maybe we could too. But don't take my word for it. Don't take their word for it. Do your own due diligence always. So that's everything we need to look at here as far as I'm concerned. So let's take a look at the relative volume for the company. It's up a smidge today, just a smidge. We went from 3.5 million on the major exchange to 3.8 million. Share structure, did we look at that? No, we have not. Outstanding share count is nice. We've got about 18 million shares. Not having a clue what the insiders own. I really don't know what the float is, but it isn't going to be more than 18 million, which is outstanding. Got no problem with that. Market cap, we're at 2.6 million. Financials, they making money. Yes, up and down. God. So we went from 9 million up to 20, back down to 12. We were making 1.2 million, doubled that the next year, and now we've lost 2/3 of that coming down. We lost less than half of the revenue, but we lost 2/3 of our profit. Quarterly, we don't get any quarterlies here. Balance sheet. Cash and cash equivalents. Our bank account's got about 2 million in it. Total assets for the company is currently standing at about 16 million. Liabilities at 13 million. That gives us a little bit of equity, 2.3 million. So we're at least not holding a bag here. I do believe that covers everything. So let's fly on over to the charts. Hey, look at that. I haven't lost you once today. And I'm still having a heart attack every time I look over there. Oh, FGL all set up and ready to blow. Go. That's right. So this is our yearly chart. Does that go back a year? It does. That goes back exactly 1 year. Our 52-week high is $1.77. She's been in a downtrend the entire year, hitting a low of 12 cents, which we hit at halfway through December. Now notice, when our 200-day MA came onto the screen, it made an impression on the stock. It just had to touch it. It got real close and just had to touch it. Just couldn't resist, and then fell away. Just fell away. I mean, look, that's all it did. Just got curious. What's this? Oh, yeah, that's a 200 MA. Bam! Came right back down. And it isn't looking real good. We are going sideways down here, very flat with a lot of MA still over our head pushing down. Oscillators, well, believe it or not, look at that. Our ADX, we've had a crossover right there, which means strength has changed from a downtrend to an uptrend. Uptrend is growing. It's getting weaker though, right? The yellow line is falling, taking away the strength from the uptrend. Our MACD is climbing, and our RSI, I do believe, has finally come off the basement floor, and it's still pretty chilly down there at 38. Take a look at our 6-month 4-hour view. Give me some beef on that chart. All right, so she is really jumping around the 200. We've got a big rip here that went from 92 cents to $1.65. Who knows why? Very short-lived. Came right back down and fell after it came back down. Then went to the 200 and took off. Looks like we should have had a breakout here, right? Everything is turning up. Right here at the pinnacle, she took another jump, darn near getting up to our high, and then just fell. Just crashed super duper hard. But now remember, this is the other chart when she touched the 200. She was underneath a falling 200. So even though this one was rising, that chart pushed it down. Came all the way back down here. We've got a 200 squeeze going on here, right? There's a rising 200 haul, a falling 200 MA. Price gets up on top of the 50. Boom! To and through the 200. And what did I tell you? Sell. Sell after it breaks through. Don't worry about how high it's going to go. It's going to come back down. And if you're looking for the ceiling, that's where people get burned. The ceiling it's not there. It's invisible. It doesn't exist. So just sell on gains. From here to here, if you're looking for more, you're being greedy. You broke the 200. That's your target. When it comes back down, you're going to be glad you sold. She's come back up. We've got another 200 squeeze, right? Rising 200, falling 200, gets on top of the 50, to and through the 200. Sell, sell. Now, I want to back up here because this is what I wanted to mention. When you look here, this is all happening after market. Most of these runs are happening after market, after market, after market. This stock likes to give money away after 4 o'clock. This is when you should be playing this stock. And there's our close over here. Now, again, these trend lines aren't making a whole lot of sense. This is my long down trend. You can see I'm poking here, 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 lots of them. Big wicks coming up, and these are all after hours. Every single one of these are after hours. And here is our uptrend, just starting, using those same wicks, using the same wicks. So now what we got to do is we got to get this bar up over top of this trend line so it can get on that trend line. But there's our 200. So that's the true ultimate goal. We've got to get up to that 200. We need that 200 squeeze. And what do we got? What do we got? Price sitting on top of the 50. 200 Hall rising. 200 MA falling. Price panicking in the middle. It's going to get crushed. It's going to run to and through the 200. Mark my words. Lots of volume here at the end of the day. Oscillators, well, I see my ADX is strong. Lots of strength in the uptrend, moving into that position. Everything else looks pretty weak. PPO, MACD, RSI, but I'm liking my ADX. Coming on down to our 20-day 1-hour view. Now you can see our trend lines much better. As you can see, there's our downtrend. She's hitting that. That tells me she wants to get over it. You don't just keep touching something over and over again if you don't want to do something, right? And look at this right there. Both of them hit at the same point. So what we've got here is this convex activity happening on top of a rising 200. I'm expecting a bounce off of that 200, and she's going to start to push and grab our trend lines and start to move up. She hasn't got a lot of strength, but she's showing promise. She's slowly moving in the right direction with lots of these bars. And again, it isn't during the day that she's giving away this money. It's after hours every time. Coming on down to our 5-day, 5-minute. Woo! See, look at that. Look at that jump after hours. She went from 15 cents up to about 18 cents. I know that's not much, but that's when she's giving it away. Same thing here. So you've got like 20%, 30% maximum here on these, but I'll take 20% any bloody day. Lots of volume today. She's had volume off and on, but she was really strong. Right now it's coming down hard, but look at our bounces. Notice again, I'm not saying every day, but she normally falls she's at her low point at the start of the day. She's at her low points. Now this one she fell, but in most cases she is low, turns around, climbs through the day, and then rips after hours. Starts the day off low, climbs, then rips after hours. Ooh, look at this. Actually got through, liking that. Our oscillators are pretty cold right now. That's a lot of come down right there. We got some come up coming on right now. She's working up to her 9-day, and all of our MAs are real close here. So it wouldn't take much for her to just jump up on top of them and start this all over again. So FGL, she's got a lot of volatility. She likes to give away money after hours. She's got a low float. She is in trouble, right? And we're worried about her having a reverse stock split if she doesn't fix it. If you're investing, if you're a day trader, who cares about any of that? Doesn't make any difference. All we need is volume and momentum, and we're in business. All right, I do need to take a break here. What you guys talking about? Nothing. Charlie. Hey. Good to see you. I almost missed you, didn't I? I'm a mess doing these live streams. I really am. I don't get to smoke. I don't get to rock. I rock a lot. I've been a hyper kid my whole life. I mean, in school, I got in trouble because I wouldn't stay in my seat and sit still. In church, my mom would slap my knee because my toes were bouncing. You know how the knee does. So I've always been a mover. And all day long, I rock. That's my secret to staying thin and eating one meal a day. Hello, Stephanie. Glad to have you here. All right. What time is it? Where's my clocks? I got lots of them everywhere. 5 o'clock. We are getting through this. So let's keep on moving. I got another one here. Kashera, you brought me NBRI. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, I am so sorry, Velmore. I felt so bad last week. You asked me to look at both the stock and the warrant, and I completely forgot about the warrant. So when you gave me your stock today, first thing I did was to see if there was a warrant there. There wasn't. Whew. So I apologize, hon. My bad. So we're now looking at ticker NBRI. This is North Bay Resources coming from Kashera. They are a gold and silver mining company working in the USA and Canada, maybe other countries. I didn't do a deep dive. Super duper high share structure. no news, no filings. So the catalyst is obviously going to be what gold and silver are doing, going to the moon. Everybody expects them to start to fall because they're just so bloody high right now. Gold was at 5,600 this morning. Trump started talking. It fell $300. And as soon as he stopped talking, it started going back up. Silver, what was it? $113 the other day. I remember years ago when everybody was saying silver, it's the black horse. It's the one you got to watch. And it's like $15, $17 an ounce. Yeah. Okay. Guess I should have listened to him. Nothing wrong with holding precious metals. Absolutely. So North Bay, this company is based out of California. Finished today at 0005. This is the cheapest stock we looked at. She is on a safe place. She is on the OTC ID, which isn't the best place, but it's safe compared to the Expert or the Pink. The OTC ID is the riskiest tier you're going to trade on because you get the least, if any, validated information. Normally, they don't give you disclosures, which means you're not getting financials that have been audited. You're getting tallied numbers that are being passed off to you by the management. You don't get any other filings whatsoever. All you get is news, hype. So honestly, the best due diligence you can do is on the insiders, the management. Find out who they are, what kind of people they are. They can make or break the company. They can scam you or they can make you rich. You need to study them. The news, take with a grain of salt, and don't get in on a piece of news for a long run. Everything should be short runs on these stocks until you have validated information. Only validated information you normally get are these two green ticks, verified profile and a verified transfer agent. I tell you to look for them all the time. It's done by an unbiased third party, the OTC markets. It's their job. So we've got that going on. Now, just to take a quick look here, do we have any 10? Not there. Do we have any 10Ks or 10Qs? 2018, 2025. Nope, just disclosures. They can opt in to using 10Ks and 10Qs. They don't have to give us disclosures. They can give us all the bloody information they want to give us. So when you see a company down here on the OTC ID actually using 10Ks and 10Qs, actually filing 8Ks and 6Ks, there's a company you can nudge up to a little bit because they're letting you see everything that's going on. These, we haven't got a bloody clue. So just be careful. North Bay Resources, jumping on over to their website. I think, did I save it here somewhere? No, hold on. There. I knew I had it somewhere. All right. This is what I found over here. Looks like they've got a couple of different projects. They're not all mines. Looks like they have a facility as well. They have Fran Gold property. That's 34,000 acres, located 20 miles from another very famous gold mine. They're doing like 60,000 tons per day, not of gold, of material, and they're getting like 45 grams of gold per ton. They also have Copper Island. This is copper silver bearing mineralization occurs in lava flows. Not quite sure where that's at. The Murex copper property. Not sure where that is at. And then something that definitely caught my eye was the Bishop Gold Mill. Fully permitted gold mill capable of processing 100 tons per day of gold ore. Strategic Inyo County location in Bishop, California. So as you can see, they've got multiple properties and they have a facility for crushing their own mining material and getting their gold. And they can also work on anybody else's as well. So let's see what we've got here in the news. Well, as I said, we don't have any new news, so we're just going to look at what was there. Going back to September, North Bay Resources announces X-Ray Silver Mine 50/50 joint venture with past production grading 1,072 ounces of silver per ton. Can you imagine that? A ton of ground, you pull out 2,000 pounds, and you're going to find 1,000 ounces of silver. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that's awesome. That's great. North Bay Resource announces 2.9 ounces of gold per ton at the Fran Gold Project. That was in October. Up in November, it kicked up. Now they're getting 6.6 ounces of gold per ton at the Fran Gold Project. And that's all the information we got. So they're actively pulling out silver, they're actively pulling out gold, and they can process it all themselves. Looking at their filings, well, we got nothing here except their most recent quarterly report. Now, I'm not going to dive through this, but I do want to get, well, you're going to give it to me? Thank you very much. All right, check these boxes, see if there's been any change of control or anything like that. You can always get the share structure here. Number of shares in a public float. Whoa, that's kind of them. You don't normally get that. We've got, oh boy, we got 9 billion shares outstanding share count. 9 billion. But the good news is there must be about 4 billion of those for the insiders because the float is at 5 billion, which is still really, really high. And that tells you that they're going to do a reverse stock split sometime, but not now. Nobody does reverse stock splits at 000. Normally you're at 008, 009. You're approaching a penny. You've been hot for 3 days, something like that. I wanted to see some other information here just real quick. 96. All right, I was looking to see. Here's a picture of their crusher. Look at that bad boy. Ye God. All right. Good enough there. What was the relative volume for the company today? A smidge more than it normally does, which is really excellent, by the way. Look, this company's been doing 20 million shares a day on the bottom tier of the OTC. Now, agreed, it's very, very, very cheap. Doesn't take a whole lot. I think you can get, is that 200,000 shares for $100 at this price? So, that's not a lot. But the fact is, when you're only doing, let me refresh this. Oh my God, 2.9 billion shares is all the OTC market did today. Now, maybe that sounds like a lot to you, but there are 12,300 companies down there divvying up all those shares. Before COVID, we had 60 to 70 billion shares a day. I remember those were hot days. Oh, God, you didn't even need to go to the major exchange to trade. There was enough liquidity down here. Liquidity is a big problem for us now. So she is maintaining that. Today, she continued on with that average, just a little over 20 million, just shy of 21 million. And we've already checked out the share structure, but we'll look at it here. Bingo. There you go. 9.4 billion, and they got 20 billion. So they could put twice as many on the market. And that's how they raise money. If they can't find a big investor to give them money, they're going to get it from the little investors, and they're going to use those shares. Now, they're going to use the same shares from big investors too. Either way, they're going to increase the float. But I would rather have big investors come in and say, oh, yeah, I think this stock is worth $1. I'm going to buy these shares at $1. And we're down here at 0005. You see that filing come out, what do? You buy in quick, bloody quick. It's going to go up somewhere near $1. We just had that happen last week when a stock was at 38 cents. And a company merged with another company and said it was EVTV, I think it was. And they said, we won't close the merger deal until your stock is $3. Well, guess what happened? It went over 4. Yeah. And we knew it was going to do it. So we rode that ride for a long time. I do believe that covers everything here. So let us go check out NBRI. I don't know if I have this one set up or not. I do. All right, kicking this back a year. If you're wondering why this is here, it makes me feel at home. When I open this up like this, that is just too naked for me. I discovered that. There's too much chart. It's a football field, and I just feel like the only one in the arena. I normally have 10, 11 windows open up all over the place. So this is just to make me feel comfortable. So we were looking at a yearly chart for NVRI. Year ago, we were at 0013. Jiminy Pete's. And from there, it has been a solid downfall all the way down to 0003. Went sideways for a while, and then we had a 200 squeeze. Yes, we did. There was a rising 200 haul. Once it got on top of the 200, you can see that's a little bar. That's a big bar. That's a huge bar, the next one. She jumped from 0004 up to 0008. That's a 100% jump. Normally don't see that down at 000s, which is why I normally don't look at 000s. They're not even part of my searches. I start my search at 001 when I scan stocks, because 000 stocks just don't move fast enough for a day trader. So I normally don't look at them. But every now and then you do get a rip. She came all the way back down to the 50, stuck it out through here. Looked like we could have had another 200 squeeze and just gave up the ghost. Fell down here, has been down here for 2 months at 0004. She had a pop up to 0007 and has fallen back right on top of the 200 haul. Lots of volume today, just like we had when that rip came. And all of our oscillators are starting to push up. Everything has been down low. Everything is warming up right now. 20 is coming up. Things looking better. Things are looking better. 6 month, 4 hour view. See, now this is a picket fence barcode, right? Just going sideways. You'll see stocks that do this for a year. Just that's why I don't like to get into them. It's just a long, bloody wait. So there's not a whole lot to see except that she is slowly getting into a position of more strength. She is now in a 200 squeeze that's happening. We got a rising 200 and a falling 200. She isn't exactly there yet. She's pushing up right now. But this was the fall. This was this 200 squeeze, right? She broke out from 0004 to 8, came all the way back down. This is the bounce. This is the bounce right there. She's on the floor again. And she's coming back up just like this. So this isn't coming down. It's going up. Everything is rolling around right now. The oscillators are showing that. Everything is starting to turn. Take a look at our 20-day 1 hour. Not a lot to look at here except that 200. That 200 is falling here, and then right there, it goes flat. And here it is starting to come up. We are actually rising now, and it is going up. If I put a line there, you can see that red line is starting to pull away from there. So we had our push up. She's come down. She's tagged to the 200, but no red bars. Nope, just wicks. She's sitting on the 50, above the rising 200, pushing over the 20. This looks like it could have a chance to do something here, actually. Not a lot of volume at the end of the day. Not a lot of volume today, period. Oscillators are neutral. There's just not a lot going on right there. And everything right now is just going sideways, pretty much locked up. We've had a couple bounces up to a strong 200 haul. It's the biggest MA on the board. There's our 200 here. We are actually in a inverse 200 squeeze. Now, the funny thing, when you have an inverse head and shoulders or a double top compared to a double bottom, it's always bullish to bearish. Well, that's not the case with a 200 squeeze. An inverse 200 or a regular 200 squeeze. That is to say, my 200 MA is on the bottom, not the top. The 200 haul is at the top, not the bottom. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's a 200 squeeze. If the price gets up on top of that 50 like it's trying right now, it could easily just break out. And here's the beauty of this. Since this is the 200 haul and is a friend to the price, once this jumps to and through that 200, when this 200 haul turns up, it'll give a turbo boost, another push to the price to get it going even faster. This is looking like it has a chance. It's worth putting on your watch list by all means. I don't much like waiting on 000 stocks, but when you see the clouds on the horizon, nothing wrong with grabbing an umbrella. That does it, folks. That was everything I had loaded up, I do believe. Yes, it is. So I'm going to give you a special. I'm going to let you get a big head. Hi, how you doing? What time is it? 5:20. All right, let's see what your comments are over here. It's okay. I know you have a lot on your plate. Yeah, you know, it's funny. When I turn the camera off, I think a lot better. When I rock constantly, I think a lot better. So between not moving and having the camera on, my brain starts to move differently, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't know why. I am a ham. You should see me without a camera. I can get silly, but say la vie. All right, let's see. AIMD, MAJ. I'm seeing, because we got enough time maybe to look at one more stock. One more. Let's see if somebody brought one in here. I'm looking. How's about MAJI? Investing for Life. I like that name. All right, we'll do it. We're going to look up, I can't grab it, MAJI. Remembering to hit all my buttons so I don't leave you behind, right? Yay, MAJI. Oh! Did I just, oh, good. I thought I saw a skull and crossbone. Yeah, they're MJWL. Good. Not us. Okay. We got ourselves MAJI, Marijuana Inc. Yeah. Is this a new company? I don't recognize that ticker. The reason I'm asking is I traded marijuana stocks from 2018 right up until COVID, and that was it. I didn't know anything else on the market. I didn't. I was strictly cannabis, 100%. And I really got deep into it because I had a Facebook page that I maintained like a mother. I mean, I really did. We had something like 23,000 people on that page when it was hot. And I just could not keep up with everything we were doing. But this one, I've not seen this ticker. I wonder if they've changed their ticker. So this is Marijuana Inc. You got to love a name like that. Ticker MAJI, based in Florida. They don't grow good marijuana in Florida, but all marijuana is grown inside. If you're going to smoke it, you can't grow it outside. I mean, not if you're going to sell it. Me and you can grow it outside, but people that sell it must grow it indoors. All right, so they finished today at 5.5 cents, down 2.5%. Coming up 1/10 of a penny, something like that. On the bottom tier of the OTC ID, giving you very little validated information, except these two ticks. Hopefully, we've got all that we're probably going to get. So what do we got here? What the heck? Is this a new company? All right. Excuso Pro, a leader in exome-based biotechnology. Get back. Who did that? Where did that come from? Develops and manufactures mammalian and plant-derived exomes using proprietary technologies. I don't know what. The best way is just to jump over at the news, see what the news is talking about. All right, we've got a new company. So it's not a marijuana company, but they're using the same ticker, just haven't changed their name. This is Exousia. I don't know. Exousia. Excusia. I don't know. All right, so let's see what we can learn about this company. First, we will jump in and get some information about what the company does. Exo Pro, through its subsidiaries, is dedicated to developing and commercializing advanced exome-based technologies. Exomes. Our mission spans clinical stage therapeutics, next-generation cancer diagnostics, and high-efficiency nutraceuticals, all centered on proprietary exomal science and delivery. Exomal. Nothing's hitting me here. Exomes. I've heard the word, but ain't nothing coming to me. All right, so let's see here. News. This is December. We got nothing for January. Exome announces executed letter of intent for strategic acquisition of high-revenue telehealth platform to accelerate nutraceutical commercialization. And that's the same news there. Launch of Maxome, the first all-natural biological active exome. So they've got a product here that they just launched in December. They made a deal in December. See if there's any information here. The platform enters the portfolio with a solid financial base of approximately $80,000 in monthly reoccurring revenues. This highly impacted agreement is slated to begin on February 2026 and is conservatively projected to add $2.4 million in annual revenue. So remember that when we look at their revenues, they're going to be adding $2.4 million to it, based on projected fulfillment of 2,000 daily scripts over 300-day service a year. So it looks like they're selling one of their new products. The established client funnel is perfectly aligned with Exu's Pro's product pipeline, particularly the recent launch of Magzome. Cost effective, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they're getting a business that is already making money. That's great. They're going to have revenues added to their revenues if they have any revenues coming in. So let's go see about that right now. They need it. They need that revenues. So what did they say? $2.4 million at the end of 2024. They made $12,000. Glad they made a deal. And they got to keep every single penny that they made. Quarterly, they didn't make anything the last 3 quarters. Got nothing there, and we're losing money a little bit. So this deal they just made is a lifesaver for them. They've got generated revenues that are going to be coming in every single month now. Balance sheet for the company. Oh, God. That don't look real nice. We have $3,000 in the bank. We've got $195,000 in assets. Of course, we've got $676 in liabilities. So we're holding just shy of $500,000 in deficit for this company. Doubt we get any disclosures, but let's take a look. We do. Well, how about that? So we got disclosures for financials, but we've definitely got filings here. That is, I'm not quite sure what that is. Let's take a look. 25.3 GD. Filed with security exchange in. Covers change price shares offered from 6 cents to 4.5 cents. It looks like they're going to be doing an offering. I think that's what they're saying there. Let me check this other one. Yeah, that's the day before. That's a G1. The first one was a G2. Yes, they are putting up formerly Marijuana Inc. Okay, so they are putting up to 15 million shares of common stock on the market and up to 4.2 million of shares they're reselling. So we don't have to worry about the resell. These are insiders from other companies or whales that give their shares to the company and say, sell these for me. Why don't they sell them on the open market? I don't know. Maybe because there's just too many of them. But they do plan on adding 15 million more shares to the count here. So what is the count? Right now we got 44 million. They plan on adding 15 million more up to, that would give us 60 million, which isn't bad, which would make about 30 million. They'd own about half of all the shares then. Right now they own more than half of them, leaving us with a nice float of about 16 million. Can't complain about that. What was the relative volume today? Ooh, not very good. She's been doing about 100,000 shares a day, which is what a lot of stocks on the OTC market do, if any. Today, she only did 39,000 shares. So is she under the radar? I don't know. I'd have to do some more looking at that company, see what it's all about. But if it's making $80,000 a day, it sounds good. But is it good for a play? Can we make some money on this as a day trader? Well, let's go look at the chart and see. You never know. All right, let's kick this back all the way to a year. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what 2 years looks like. So she was going flat for a real long time, had a bump, fell back to that 50, totally flat 50, and launched off of that 50. That was, woo, well, all right, so this only goes back to October 2024. Right there is March of 2025. Okay, so March 2025, we had a rip from 5 cents up to 31 cents. That's a 600% run. Now, this is daily. Each one of these bars is a day. So you'd have had to be patient, right? This is probably get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out, all that sort of thing. Once she hit her high of 31 cents, she came back down, hit a low of about 9.5 cents and hung out there. Once the 200 came into the picture, this is where it came in. This is when it gave her some support. She was underneath the 50, losing the will to live. Then came the 200. She jumped up on it, was looking good. Everything was rising. Everything was pushing up. I don't know why she turned around and fell. She went back to her old tricks and fell all the way down to 2.4 cents. That's our 52-week low. Off of that, she's been climbing and changing gears. Looking at our 6-month, 4-hour view. 6 months ago, we were at 21 cents. Came under the 200, turned around, took a jump through a falling 200. That's scary. You stay up there too long, and she did. She stayed up there for quite a few days. You normally get punished when you come back down under the 200, you get shoved down. That's the way it looks to me. That's what happens a lot. She came all the way down to that low of 2.4. Off of that, she immediately bounced. Now, that's a sign to me in most cases when you see an immediate bounce off of a 52-week low. It normally could mean that there is shareholder value. There's a lot of people that shop these 52-week low bubbles looking for hidden shareholder value. They'll go do due diligence. If they find it, they'll get into the stock immediately. And there's hundreds of those people out there. So they all get in at the same time. And it doesn't just bounce. It changes direction. It is a change of trend and starts to climb. So we had a nice push here from 2.4 cents up to 7 cents. That's a nice climb. She leveled off again on her 50-day. And right now, it looks like she's dipping to our 200. Now, this could be a nice dip and jump. She was set up here. I'm not saying that she has to break out. She was over the 50 right there. We got a rising 200 and a falling 200. Coulda, shoulda, woulda broke out here, but didn't. But she could easily come down to a rising 200 haul and bounce. And when she bounces, she won't just jump up to the 50. She will jump to and through the 200. That's what you get with the fall to the 200 is a push to the next 200. You got to remember, these two are equal. It becomes ping pong in here. Pa, 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 back and forth. So I'd be watching this to drop down to the 200 haul, which is right around 4 cents, a little bit above it. It's going to be even higher tomorrow because it's climbing. Just a little above 4 cents. And then watch for volume to come in. Volume comes in like this. Boom. She's probably going to run. She's probably going to go all the way up to 8 cents or more, which would be, about 80% run. If it goes over that, it could be 100%. Oscillators are a bit tepid right now. The worst part, I'm looking at that ADX. See that? Downtrend, strong downtrend. Both the red and the yellow are at ultimate peak. They're right at the very top. This doesn't move. There's no movement on this. That is the whole chart, always is. So that is maximum strength on a downtrend right now. And our uptrend is running away, going down here where it's even weaker. So, oh yeah, I'm expecting this to hit the 200 haul and bounce. Come on down to our 20-day, 1-hour view. Took a rip through the 200, hit that high, came down to the 200, which is now rising. She's staying above it. Now, the 200 is cooling off. She's kind of leveling off right now. All the MAs are over the price's head. Price is falling. Still on the 200. Full bar is half over it, half under it, so it's not left it yet. But it's looking weak. It is looking weak by all means. Oscillators aren't going to give us any help except to say that bloody ADX again. Red and yellow at the top, green at the bottom. That says weakness to me. And looking at our 5-day, 5-minute. We got no 200 on the board. She's been falling ever since from 6.5 cents down to our 5.1 cents. She's underneath everything right now. She has got all the MAs pushing down except the 9, which really doesn't have a whole lot of influence. But hey, look at here. We've got a rising ADX. We just had a crossover, but then look how many crossovers we've had. Boom, 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 boom. So these aren't really making any difference right now. These are kind of in the middle right here. We really need one of these to get down to the bottom like this. It needs to come all the way to the bottom. So we're going to watch this. It is in a position where it could do something if volume comes in, but it could just sit down here for a while too. Very hard to tell. I'm thinking she's definitely going to fall, folks. And I wouldn't even be looking for a 200 squeeze. I'm just saying that because the volume is just petering out here. Even with things brightening up here, the volume is just getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And all of our ADXs say down, 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 down. So, I mean, you can put it on your watch list, but I don't think she's going to pop tomorrow or the next day or the day after that, unless they come out with some real wild news. It'd be nice if they just came out with some current news. That would help. That does it, folks. We're at 534. That's another stock covered without one major goof up. I know I always blunder, may have stuttered, may have spit, may have even said something wrong that you noticed. I'm human, folks. Even AI makes mistakes, right? I do my best. I try to be sincere. I don't want to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I'm not even paid to do this. So what would be my motivation, right? I work myself to death just to do this for you. So I think you can trust at least my motives. So there you go, folks. I am done for the day. I'm going to go get me some food, a coffee, a joint, anything else I can think of, because I haven't had anything for the last hour and a half, and I don't do that to myself. I treat myself good when I'm stuck in this chair. All right, folks, I'll see you next week, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Thursdays, every Thursday. We don't have a whole lot of holidays anymore. Thanksgiving and Christmas last year. It's going to be a while before we have another one. So I'll see you next week. Remember, the more you know, you're funny. The more you're going to grow. See you, folks.